Hi, welcome back. Once again, it is time for another analysis review on a more recent M-Cave hiker, similar to what I did with Scott Natal. If you haven't checked that one out, make sure to do so. Now it's time to look at JChuck, a more recent M-Cave hiker looking for the cave, but more importantly, looking for Kenny Veach. In this, I'll give my opinion and just give an overall review. There should be a link top corner of the screen to check out JChuck's channel. Make sure to do so after this video. Let's get into this video right now. So this is just me giving my point of view and opinion when looking at his content. So we'll start with the positives. The key point is he is out there. He's out in the environment, the terrain, and he's searching. That's a big positive because not everyone can get out there. Not everyone wants to get out there, and that's understandable, but JChuck is willing to. So respect to him for doing that. Same applies to other people, previous people, and maybe future people and current people right now hiking. So that's one key point to make. The next point is more to do with his his attitude and mindset. So from looking at his videos, inferring from him, a positive is he is focused and he is determined. If he's set on getting something done, he's going to make sure he gets the job done.
Turn around, that's ravine 1 down there. Move out.
If he's going to go down Mojave Canyon and head up the ravines 1, 2, and 3, he's going to make sure he does that. But at the same time, he does have a realistic mindset of when not to go any further, when to turn back, such as when he was running out of water. Additionally, due to his body language and the way he talks and the tone of his voice, he does seem quite disciplined in what he sets out on doing.
But these stupid trees are completely obscuring my line of sight. Doesn't seem to be anything on top of there at all.
Whether it be the odd mistake he makes, he corrects himself, or he criticizes himself at times because he wants to do well. He wants to do a good job in whatever he does. That's what I infer. And like with the hiking, he wants to make sure he clears things up, he debunks certain stuff, and he makes sure he does his best to try and find Kenny and look in the key locations such as the ravines. So you pair that all together, strong mindset, disciplined, focused, determined, etc. You could say it's a bit like of a militaristic, if that's a word, mindset. You know, I did hear he was joining some kind of military group or whatever group, I can't remember now. But if he was with that mindset and the way he is, it probably would work out. But let's move on to another positive, is JChuck has covered a fair bit of distance. I don't exactly know how much, but if you're basing it off the footage and where he's been, similar to where previous hikers have been, up Mojave Canyon, he has covered distance. And if we're basing it off what Jay Silverheels has stated,
he parked at the nature center. Is my understanding he parked there. Walked in on the road, walked up Joe May to the parking area. He goes up, then he went up into this area. That is where I perceive that he went. At any rate, that's over 20 miles. And that's by me clicking straight lines. It's more likely 25 miles. 25 miles in well over 100-degree heat.
It clearly shows he has put quite a bit of time and effort into hiking as well as recording it. So let's move on to the next key point. Now, a key aspect which makes JChuck unique in his area, just like with Scott Natal being unique in looking for the M cave primarily and searching every single possible cave, M-shaped or not, and debunking it along the way, with JChuck, he specialises and focuses more on Kenny Veach himself, looking in certain areas where Scott may have not looked, or other people. JChuck primarily looking at the ravines in that area, as discussed with him and Jay Silverheels previously. looking in those areas, it helps rule out and clears up things, whether something is found or if nothing is. And from the looks of it, JChuck has looked quite far and deep up the ravines and cleared it up along the way, which is helpful. Let's move on to the next key point. Now, aside from JChuck looking in areas most other people haven't, JChuck also provides a different perspective and dynamic at night, showing the nightlife, what it looks like, what it sounds like. So that can be quite helpful to understand what the environment and the terrain and maybe the threat, danger is like at that time of the day, time of the night, the contrast between it. But similar, Scott Natal and the original Cave Hiker have shown nightlife footage as well. Not much, but enough to get an understanding of what it looks like. But equally, JChuck has provided as well. It can help because you get an idea of what it looks like. Maybe there's a chance of seeing stuff which you wouldn't see during the daytime. Maybe something dodgy might happen or creepy might happen. Who knows? But it enables and opens the opportunity to maybe pick up on new things or find newer findings like how was done previously. Now we'll move on to the criticisms to balance things out. Realistically, I'm not really in a position to be saying this and that, but from a viewer's point of view, to provide some kind of help, advice, or whatever, especially if JChuck has it in mind that he needs help from others or would appreciate support from others, pointing stuff out, suggesting things, then this is why I'm doing this video and mentioning these key points. So if we begin with, one issue with JChuck's channel content is the videos tend to be quite short. So there's not much to analyse or infer from, if that makes sense. Because the videos are quite short, 30, 40 seconds long, yes, in terms of frequency, there's a lot of videos on his channel, but they're all short. It would have been better if they were like compiled together as a compilation or so of a certain key area. So it's easier to track, easier to categorize, if you get me. Also, the videos tend to be a bit quick and erratic in movement. So it's hard to track what we're looking at as the viewer. Sometimes it can be a bit blurry. Sometimes it's not zoomed in, sometimes it's not panned around slowly. So it makes it difficult for someone like me as a viewer to pinpoint certain things, analyze stuff, pick up on anything whatsoever, if that makes sense. And additionally, it kind of makes it a bit difficult at times to understand where I am or what I'm looking at because it's very short. So I've got to replay the video a few times. So that is one issue. Because if we look at a previous hiker such as Scott Natal, he spends more time recording. You see the videos 20, 30 minutes long, so there's more to look at, there's more to analyse. He is slower, so it gives you more time to take things in and understand what's going on and the environment around. So that is just a suggestion, maybe make the videos longer if possible. The only other criticism along with the videos is the title of the videos. They're not quite clear. Now, this is the reality in terms of getting the attention from the audience and making sure the community knows about the mystery, the Cave, Kenny Veach. The key word in the YouTube videos are either Cave Hike, or Kenny Veach. They need to be mentioned within the title of the video. So when you do go on a Google search or whatever, those videos will come up then because of those keywords. And with JChuck's videos, maybe not much of a reach to everyone because the titles are a bit vague, and that's what the issue is. And the main problem, aside from reaching the correct audience, the vague titles make it harder to, like, just from seeing it on screen, it makes it hard to understand how does it link to the next video. Is this video tied with the next video? Because it's not a compilation and they're just all posted around, short video one after another, so frequent. You know, it's kind of hard to group them together, if that makes sense, because they've all got different titles. Whereas if it was like a compilation video called All Ravines Searched and Explored Explained, and it was like a 1 minute to 5 minute video showing it all in one, then it'd be easier to understand. And then the next video could be a compilation of a different area, the mine shaft or something else. You get what I'm saying? Now, one counterpoint aimed towards me, what most humans would do, is people would say, he's out there, he's searching, what more do you want, Andrew? That is understandable. But if we're basing it off the idea that JChuck wants support or wants people to help him and assist him, he needs to provide a bit more footage or provide a bit more, explanation without it being too rushed. An additional counterpoint people would say is, whilst JChuck is out there focused on what he is doing and what he's setting out on doing, he might not have the time, or he might not be able to multitask, recording everything whilst on his mission doing what he's doing. Yes, that makes sense as well. He's got to be focused in what he wants to do and what he's going to do, and also the risk and the dangers around. He needs to be alert, he needs to be focused. But if we're linking back to previous people, like the original Cave hiker, like with Scott Natal, and I guess even Aquachigger, they took it a little bit slower and were able to still record a decent amount of footage and still remain safe at the same time. So I'm just putting it into perspective, okay? Now, another criticism you could say is that JChuck at times may ignore certain suggestions of key locations to look at, such as the mine shaft within and the crystal skull, or such as Really Robin and the locations he explored, or even the covered up cave which the original hiker discovered, or even a cave nearby which Jeff Clark came across. Because JChuck has it in his mind of what he's doing and setting out, which is a good thing, that impulsive, that tunnel vision behaviour can kind of get in the way and cause conflict with other people trying to help and assist and suggest other locations to look at. Because he's got it in his mind exactly what he's doing and where he's going, which is a good thing, it's kind of blocking out support and help from other people who want to help JChuck, or at least give him key things to look at, which might help in the overall investigation. Because at the end of the day, a mystery, especially an obscure one, or one that doesn't have much information or stuff behind it, requires maybe cooperation. And if that is lacking, then things are going to be much slower, not as consistent, not as functional, or as successful. Now, yes, there's been communication between JChuck and Jay Silverheels in what they're setting out doing, such as the ravines, but I think it would be helpful if JChuck also listened to the likes of Jeff Clark and maybe some other people as well, because it might help in the long run. Now, the only final criticism would be when JChuck posts something, whether it be a comment or a video, and it's slightly different in behaviour to what he's normally like, and then he ends up deleting it afterwards. That might tie in with his impulsive nature and the way his mindset is at times. I think he did mention it previously in a comment. He can't help it. Sometimes he might act in a certain way but doesn't mean it, or ends up changing his mind afterwards. Okay. But I think what the issue is, when it comes to people saying something or posting something and then deleting it afterwards without an explanation, it kind of adds confusion. It does. But aside from that, you can also argue that it also kind of tarnishes the credibility of the person. That might sound like a big criticism, but it's just trying to be honest and word it correctly. In general, if a person is doing something or saying something and they are very consistent and repetitive in what they do or say, more people are likely to listen to that individual because they know what they're doing. They seem stable, they seem secure. But if someone is a little bit reckless at times or goes down a dark path, and, you know, post something, then delete something, create something, and then changes it. Kind of like the reckless behavior. It might put people off, or it might make people think twice, if that makes sense. Now, it might just be like a comment was made or a video was made and then they thought, you know what, it doesn't make sense, or oh, it was cleared up, so I might as well get rid of it now. But it should remain in place and maybe just be updated just to document things along the way. I mean, if we look at me, look at how I've changed at times, like with the keyhole. I was going on about saying it does look like an eye. I didn't go all in though, let's just put that in. I did use uncertainty language throughout it, but I was saying it did look like this, it did look like that. And then fast forward a few months on, I suddenly changed my mind and I did like a big U-turn. However, what I did do was I kept the original video up and kept the new video up as well to show the transition between a differing opinion and a better understanding over time. If you end up removing something previous to what you do or say now, you can't really link back or compare, and it causes and raises a little bit of suspicion and damages credibility to the individual, because now you're thinking, well, why are you hiding the past, previous history? Why not archive it, show it, so then people can look back and then look to how you are now, if that makes sense. Because when people tend to start removing lots of things, not always, but at times, it might cause a bit of suspicion, or it might make people think, does this person know what they're really doing? If that makes sense. There's many different ways to look at it. I'm sure there will be resistance by people, a few, on this video in the comment section, because they haven't really understood what I'm getting at, which is fine. But yeah, this is just my overall opinion of JChuck. It's good what he's doing, but from a viewer's perspective who might be involved in the mystery, it's difficult to really get anything from his videos because of the length and lack of depth behind them. What he's doing from his knowledge and what he's done and found or debunked may be all there and complete and successful, most likely the case. However, from a viewer's perspective, they don't know what truly has been covered or completed because there's not enough footage to refer to, as previously seen like with the content between Scott Natal's and the original Cave hiker. That's all I'm saying, okay? Hope you enjoyed the video. Next time I'll be looking at Jay Silverheels and give a brief opinion on his content. So goodbye.